Guys, just want to take this quick opportunity to thank Demetrius for the help that he gave me when establishing my store. Um, we spend a lot of effort in looking at traffic sources like Facebook advertising and other mediums to really get that traffic to our website. However, we don't spend the effort at looking at analyzing the data and seeing how we can make those tweaks and changes that are really going to be beneficial for us. Based on the information that we receive from all this money that we spend on the traffic. So without a doubt, Demetrius is the Google Analytics king. That's hands down. And, I was fortunate enough to stumble upon him in a few various forums, approached him, very approachable, very, willing to help. And, at the beginning of the year, he helped me out with setting up the Google Analytics, understanding the data, analyzing that data, and then obviously making those changes based on the information that we received. And to give you a bit of an example of the success that I had from some of the stuff that Dimitri helped me implement, when I first started my store, I'm sure a lot of you guys can resonate with this as well. When I first started my store, we were doing about maybe $2,000 a month in revenue, just dipping the toes in the water, trying to figure out this whole e-com game. Then I started doing Facebook advertising, got excited, started to see a little bit of money came in. I was doing about 8,000 revenue, not profit yet, revenue a month. And that was creeping up 8 to 10,000, still working part-time. Saw Demetrius' stuff, knew that this is stuff that I needed to implement, and I wanted to get some of this knowledge from this guy. Had him work on a few bits and pieces with me, obviously install Google Analytics, run me through understanding Google Analytics, and even more importantly, understand the data that we receive from Google Analytics. Now, as you guys may already know, that Facebook reporting isn't that quite often that accurate. So we need that sort of secondary platform to really reinforce the data that we're receiving. So Google Analytics is it. And that really helps with understanding and getting the accurate information that we need. So, once I had Demetrius set all that up for me and show me that information, within that first month, we went from 8,000 to 20,000, 20-something thousand dollars in revenue. And that was only a Kickstarter. This is months ago, and we've done a lot more since. I just wanted to use that, I suppose, revenue example of, what I've experienced from the stuff that I've learned from Demetrius and implemented, and showing that it is very valuable. And you cannot run a business without knowing your numbers. If you're not knowing your numbers, you're just making it a hobby at the end of the day. It probably sounds harsh me saying that, but it's really important. You've got to understand your numbers. You've got to understand the data, understand your finances, understand who's who that's visiting your site, and how you can use that information to really propel your business forward. So again, I just wanted to take that little bit of this quick little moment just to thank Demetrius. And I definitely, he's a resource of information. Use him, highly recommended. Thanks, guys.